introduce the founder of Jason Berlin, Field Team 6. There, I did it.
Hello, everybody. I am the founder of Jason Berlin, Field Team 6. And I'm so glad you're all here. Thank you so much for coming to our strategy briefing for 2021-2022 team style. First time we're doing it this way. I'm so glad. So you're not just gonna see me in one of my 3 dress shirts. You'll also get to hear from all the super volunteers and staff who run the engine room of Field Team 6, who make us go and who have been instrumental in accomplishing everything that we have so far. When I was a TV writer, as everyone knows by now, for 18 years. Trump got elected and I quit that, changed my life, jumped into organizing. Thank God so many thousands and tens of thousands of you also changed your lives in ways small and huge. And we saved the world all together just now, a couple times, once in November, then again in January. So back in 2018, I worked for the Democratic Party. I was laid off after the blue wave midterms, which was normal. That's politics is cyclical, and it's also completely wrong. That's why I founded Field Team 6, so that all the lessons we had learned about voter registration would not blow away with the wind, and so that Field Team 6 could be a place where institutional knowledge is stored and passed on and accumulated and advanced. And so that this would not be cyclical. We would break the wheel of pain and do democratic partisan voter registration all year, every year. 24/7, 365. So our mission and I'm just going to speak for a little while and hand it off. Our mission remains the same. Register Democrats, save the world. It worked. And that's what we got to do again now, because though we saved our democracy and bought ourselves 2 years of oxygen, the democracy hangs by a thread. We have a majority in the Senate that's so small it's not even a majority. And we have a 9-seat majority in the House. History says the party that wins the White House loses seats in the midterms. So history says we will lose the House and Senate in 2022. There's only one thing to do: defy history. We've done it a few times already. We can do it again. And that's what dictates our strategy for the next 2 years. It's a 3-pronged strategy: save the Senate, save the House, and win down ballot along the way. To do that, we've targeted 8 triple word score states. These are states where every Democrat, at least in some part of the state, can help us with a crucial Senate race, a House race, and down ballot as well. Sometimes governor's races, as well as there are huge mayoral races in a lot of these states that we're working on. In 2021, especially this year, we are taking a page from Stacey Abrams' playbook and focusing on these big mayorals in order to win the cities, to win the state. So we build our Democratic base in these metropolitan areas so that not only can we flip some mayor's races, but we can also, every one of those voters will later be useful in statewide races for governor, to oust racist vote suppressor Ron DeSantis in Florida, to oust vote suppressor Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, Brian Kemp in Georgia. I get chills just saying, how good would that be? As well as winning these crucial Senate and House races. So we're super excited right now because there's light at the end of the COVID tunnel finally. What we did was master in-person voter registration techniques until COVID hit. Then of necessity, we cracked the nut of digital outreach. And now we're going to get to put both of those together and see what we can do. We can't wait for that. Right now is the tough part. We have, it feels like, because it feels like we can relax a little. There's that illusion, Biden and Harris are president, vice president. Fauci is speaking the truth on TV. It feels like we can relax, but we can't. The stakes are too high. What happens if we don't? You can see right now, there are over 360 voter suppression laws, bills wending their way through 47 states legislatures. So voting and registering Democrats to vote could not be more important in order to save the democracy. If we lose the House and Senate in 2022, nothing gets done for the following 2 years, and it sets it up for Republican takeover in 2024. We can't let that happen. We've seen what could happen when it does. So we have this giant machine now that mints Democrats. Field Team 6 has a 15 million contact database. These are eligible voters who are likely Dems in target swing states. We have our own voter registration portal, Voterizer, and we have all the skills that we all have learned over these last 4+ years of training. So this is the tough part. This is the donor fatigue doldrums, understandable. But, we made a strategic decision as November was approaching to risk the life of our organization and spend 90% of what we raised in the field registering Democrats, because if there were no more America, none of this would matter. We all stand by that decision, and we would make it again. And that said, this is the tough part, because we are working our top goal. We have huge goals, and the first one is our survival. Of course, if we don't survive, we don't get to keep doing this and keep doing all the good that we're planning on doing. So please keep volunteering. We have weekly many opportunities to volunteer, and you'll hear all about them over the course of this hour. Keep signing up to help behind the scenes. And if you or someone love what Field Team does, and you can write a check or get them to, please let us know. And you can let us know at Yvette at fieldteam6.org, our amazing finance director. So now you're going to hear from our resident geniuses, the super volunteers and staff who keep us going. And I'm just going to list them quickly so you know who's coming up. We have messaging guru Patty Crane. We have the person who helped build this organization from the ground up, Wayne Liebman. We have our super brain and info team leader, Valerie Morishige. We have events team leader, Postcard Czar, and 2020 Volunteer of the Year winner, Janet Ho. We have Postcard Czar and Zoom Czar, Sharon Lord Greenspan. Media team leader, Jeff Seeloff. Our chief strategist, Corey Alpert. Finance director, Yvette Wilhite Hanshaw. Text Bank and Social Storm Czar, Deb Verla. Hyphenate Czars, very impressive. Phone Bank Czar, Ashley Craig. Our COO, hardest working man in show business, formerly in show business, Dale Roy Robinson. And our events team co-leader, classically trained opera singer and CEO of 5 Senses Tasting, Colin Maxim. So before we go to them, here is a video that tells the Field Team 6 story even better than I can.
Field Team 6 is a volunteer army on a mission.
Register Democrats, save the world.
Register Democrats,
save the world.
Their proudly partisan in-person voter drives broke records from the beginning. With their bold as love pickup line,
Can you help me save the world from Trump?
Can you help me save the world from Trump?
They helped flip 5 House seats blue in the 2018 midterms.
In 2019, Field Team 6 opened chapters across the country, but when COVID hit, they had to go digital overnight.
Voter drives turned into text banks, phone banks, and social media storms. They even created their own registration app, Voterizer, to streamline the process.
In 2020, despite a pandemic, they contacted over 15 million unregistered likely Democrats in 11 swing states. College students, Latinx and Black communities, marriage equality supporters, purge voters, and even some Trump defectors, and it worked.
Field Team 6 registered over 30,000 Democrats and helped register hundreds of thousands more. Biden and Harris won, banishing President garbage nightmare, whatever his name was, from the White House.
In Arizona, they registered over 6,000, 58% of Biden's winning margin.
The state flipped blue for the first time in 24 years. They sent Mark Kelly to the Senate,
putting Democrats just 2 seats away from a majority.
The road to those seats ran through Georgia. Field Team 6 made the difficult decision to risk its own existence in order to focus on the runoffs.
Teaming up with in-state Native American organizers, they sent out over 1 million texts, 450,000 emails.
And now we get to say Senator Ossoff and Senator Reverend Warnock.
The national resistance, led by women and organizers of color, secured a Democratic trifecta against all odds. Field Team 6 is honored to be part of this resistance.
And they've come too far to quit now. They just helped save the world once, and they've drawn up plans to do it again in the next 2 years.
We're going to need every new swing state Democrat we can get if we want to save our Senate and House majorities.
But for this to work, they need you. It is your volunteer hours and donations that help them to survive and to continue their digital outreach, and when the pandemic is over, to resume their in-person supercharged voter drives.
It's Dan with Field Team 6 and Blue Revolution. We registered 41 Democrats today here in the must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Hello from Field Team 6 Austin.
So thank you to every volunteer who gave for days, for weeks, for months,
or 4 years of your lives to bring about this miracle. And thank you for everything we will achieve together in the next 4 years as we once again
register Democrats.
Save the world.
Register Democrats.
Save the world.
Register
Democrats.
Save the world.
Save
the world.
Save the world.
Save the world.
Save the world.
Save the world.
Oh my God, I love that video. So to be a good finance director, you have to be not just on top of every detail always and brilliant and creative. You have to be a passionate advocate, and Yvette is all of those things. Yvette Wilhite Hanshaw, super, nothing but heart. She's the best. Yvette, please take it away.
Oh my gosh, Jason, thank you. So I love that video too. And it's really a culmination of everybody's hard work last year in building relationships and putting FT6 on the radar screen of, the progressive landscape. So I'm so proud of that video and I love that. And so I wanted to share with you all like the amazing work that y'all helped us do last year. And I'm sorry I say y'all a lot, but I'm from Tennessee, so it kind of starts coming out. So last year, and I'm going to let Janet show this amazing grid that we have that our amazing designer put together for us. So this is an event grid that shows you a lot of the events we did last year. So we did 29 events. The majority of them were online. We also did 10 texting events with celebrities towards the end of the year that were rolling out faster than we could hardly put them together. But all of these efforts last year raised almost $400,000 for Field Team 6. And brought us and put us in front of about 3,500 people, which is really remarkable. The level of entertainment celebrities that we had access to, is really in my mind like what you see at the presidential level. So it was really amazing. So, and all of these events are really entry points into our organization, and they help us raise money and friends and awareness, and they're so important. And then incorporating the texting piece really helped us register Democrats across the country, and it made it fun. And it was just a really amazing experience last year, being able to work with you to put all this together. So as we move forward for 2021, we've had a couple events. It was a little slow start in January, as you know, because we had the failed coup attempt. And so we're all suffering from a little bit of donor fatigue and activist fatigue. But as Jason mentioned, we got to keep going because there's so much more work to be done. And so I feel like we've got some great plans for 2021, including we are going to be doing a monthly Drinks for Democracy event. Our first one will be in June, actually, and that will be featuring celebrities and political types, and it'll just be fun for everybody to come together on a Friday night from wherever you're at across the country and join together in some great sort of rehashing of the week, of what's going on politically, a little bit of SNL weekend update. So I encourage you to check that out and participate if you can. And then we're also going to launch our investor circle, and that is our major donors. We're asking folks to make a big investment, 2-year investment in our work this year and next year to continue helping us be an evergreen organization. And then we also have an event coming up with Joe Trippi, the amazing political strategist, and that's May 13th. So all of this is to say, we need your help. We need your help with identifying new hosts, ideas, partners, and certainly in promoting these events. They're so critical to our organization. And since we are a national organization, these virtual events give everybody access from across the country. They don't have to come to LA for an event. They get to participate wherever they're at. So we want to continue a robust event schedule, but we need your help. So if you're interested in having a conversation about our events and want to be a part of them, please email me at event@fieldteam6 and let's have a conversation. And now I'm going to pass it off to the amazing Kala on our events team, who's getting ready to host an amazing event for us in May.
Thank you, Yvette. Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to invite you to an extremely cool event, if I do say so myself, called Democracy Red, White, and Rosé. Janet's going to share a beautiful picture that's going to make you have absolutely no option but to come. And so I am the founder of 5 Senses Tastings, and I compose musical wine, cheese, and chocolate tastings, bringing all your 5 senses into harmony while telling really cool stories. So I'm going to tell some stories about democracy through wine, cheese, and chocolate. My partners are Angelina Wine Company and Maya's Brigadero right here in LA. I have a couple photos to introduce you to the winemakers, Amy and Jasper. They are in downtown LA. Did you know that wine started in Los Angeles, right? Not Napa, my friends. So we will be tasting their Meadow Rosé, which you actually see here. I think we might be having their Super Bloom, and then we're going to have a Syrah. We have tons of different packages, which I'm going to show you at the end, but I just want to tease you with the Brigadero as well, which are these beautiful Brazilian treats made by Maya, and they're a cross between a truffle and a caramel, and they are seriously bonkers good. So you have to come, because when is it like, I mean, when do you not want to eat and drink to save democracy, right? And listen to amazing music and hear about stories of people who, you know, saved democracy in their own way. So on our last slide, we have some options for you to come. We have full packages of wine and chocolate. We can ship to you all around the country. We can bring to you here in LA. You can come pick up. You can have chocolate only. So many options, too many options to choose from. No excuses. Come drink to Register Democrats and Save the World May 18th at 6 p.m. Remember that beauty is not a luxury, and we will see you there. Thank you. Hold on, I'm gonna get to the next person.
I was so wrapped up in the chocolate and wine that I forgot that I was introducing the next person. Now I'm scrolling through my outline so that I can tell who's next. It is none other than Patty Crane. Patty, take it away.
Hi, I hope I'm unmuted, okay? And I'm thrilled to see everybody here. It's an exciting time for Field Team 6. I've had a lot of roles, as have all volunteers in all places, but my most interesting role, and I think every volunteer deserves a chance to do something interesting, is doing knowledge transfer. So what I do is I attend about 5 to 7 briefings per week at the various tables that Field Team 6 belongs to, and the various consortia that are working on strategy, that are working on research, that are working on alignment, which We Dems have got to get better at alignment these days, and especially working on voting rights protection, because for a voter reg organization, there's nothing more important than making sure that we have voting rights. So I want to give everybody a quickie little 3 V's takeaway. If you're staring at a blank screen and you want to tweet or post to Facebook or say something to your friends in any medium or make a text, here's an interesting little frame to do it. Think of the 3 V's. Open with a value that we all believe in. Then name a villain who's getting in the way of that value. And boy, do we know some villains, Jason, right now? We seriously know some villains. You've named a few of them, but you know, I've got a longer list even. But then the next thing you do, because Americans prefer positive messages, is that the next thing you do is you pivot back around to the vision of what it looks like when it's working. So what it looks like when it's working is that all our voices as Americans get heard. And of course, we can't do that unless we register to vote and then we activate as voters. So take a look at the Field Team 6 Media Storm assets. You're going to hear more about that in a few minutes from another amazing volunteer, Deb Burla, to do it. Now I want to show you something else that's an important thing that we're looking at, because what is the field for Field Team 6? You know, that's an important question. All right, everybody has seen this chart and remembers the agony of 2016. Remember, the blue side got 51%. The red side only got 49%. Yet, what happened? Well, I'm not going to say his name, and neither are you, right? But we know what happened, because in a few states, in fact, in Michigan, it was fewer than 2 votes per precinct that flipped Michigan and made that electoral college vote go the wrong way. And so we know that we had the blue wave in 2018, yay. And we know what we did in 2020. But I would submit to you, and I was taught from one of the briefing groups that I attend with marathon 2.5-hour sessions every Thursday afternoon, that this is a flawed way and it makes us misunderstand our elections. So instead, let's look in a 3D method. And instead, oh my gosh, now we have a new panel in the middle. Instead of just our blue and our red, who's in the middle? Did not vote. People who could have voted, who are old enough and who are citizens, whether they were registered or not, they did not vote. And you know what? Did not vote has won every election since 1996 in the United States. Think we got our work cut out for us? I do. All right, well, let's take a look at it numerically instead of percentage-wise, because how happy were we that we saw 64 million votes for Hillary in 2016 and 61 million, which was darn good turnout in the midterms, but oh my gosh, 81 million blue votes in 2020. But the scary thing about it is over there, that other guy who shall not be named, he was able to keep perpetrating the big lie, because he actually did get 11 million more votes than he had gotten in 2016. So that tells us about who is in there in that 84 million. The other thing that happens is that everybody thinks that these are pretty much static groups, with the exception of, people who die and young people who come of age, who reach the age of 18. And in fact, there are 7 million young people who are going to hit the age of 18 by the time we have the midterms in 2022. But there's a scary fact about this, because if you look at who's in that middle gray thing, lots of people who used to vote turned into non-voters, and lots of people who didn't used to vote turned into voters. So there's actually a lot more voter churn than anybody ever knew. So when we think about what's our role in Field Team 6, we want to register Democrats, save the world. Yep, we want to get all 7 million of the young people who are turning 18 by 2022. But you know what? We want every Dem and even every independent in that 84 million right there in the middle. It's our job to go after them. And we know new things from all the briefings that I go to, which is, for one thing, for a reluctant voter, we have to touch them, that is, have contact with them, not once, not twice, but you know what? 5 times in order to activate them. So that means all the digital tools we've been mastering this year because of COVID, they're not going away. We're going to figure out how to use all of them. So I'm proud to be part of Field Team 6, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patty. That's amazing. That really is interesting that we're not trying to move people from the red column into the blue column. And it's great to think that way. And by the way, if you're ever reading our newsletters or seeing our social media posts and you wonder how Field Team 6 can keep its pulse on what's the latest messaging to make sure that we're being effective out there in the world in our messaging, it's because of Patty. I'm just going to give it all to her. There it is. Okay, so we have been teasing this idea that we have some new data as to what we were able to do in the last cycle. And that is because we have one chief strategist named Corey Alpert on our team who likes numbers. Corey, do you have any numbers for us?
I have one or two. All righty. Give it a second. All right. Thanks, everyone. My name is Corey Alpert. I'm the chief strategist here at Field Team 6, which means I handle all the data and I help Jason, Dale, and Yvette make our big strategic decisions about where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And then on the back end, figure out what exactly we did, which is the point of what we're going to talk about here. I'm going to go ahead and share the big number, the one that we've been teasing. This is the number of what we're calling registration assists. So that's the number of people who Field Team 6 contacted in some way who ended up getting registered. They did not necessarily end with Field Team 6. Field Team 6 was one of several organizations that touched these folks, but these are folks who Field Team 6 reached out to and we were part of their registration journey. And because of Field Team 6, they got registered to vote and help make a difference in this election. That number is 2,940,883 people. That's a projection based on some numbers that I'm going to walk through in just a second, but that is an incredible number. And really thanks to all of the volunteers and supporters and friends of Field Team 6 who are on this call and who've been a part of these efforts over the last couple of years and the whole organizing team over the last year. So just to walk through that really briefly, we were able to confirm 3 states. So we have the registration data from 3 states. That's Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina. Because those states were relatively easy for us to get to, and that also constitutes 3 of the states that we were reaching out to in 2020. In those states, we reached out to about 3.4 million people who at the time were not registered to vote. Of those, we now know that about 840,000 of those people who Field Team 6 contacted ended up getting registered. That comes out to about a 25% registration percentage. Once we run that through, and we ran it through by the number of times people were contacted, so this is a weighted average, not a simple average. The number of times that people were contacted, that gives us our 2.9 million number. So we're fairly confident in projecting that we helped about 3 million people get registered to vote. A lot more women than men, to go into some basic demographics here. Totally to be expected. There are more female unregistered likely Dems than there are male unregistered likely Dems. We'll sort of breeze through some initial data. We're finding that, as Patty was saying, the more that we're reaching out to people, the more likely they are to end up getting registered. When we reached out to people 5 or more times, they're about 83% likely to get registered to vote. So incredible numbers here. And we'll be talking more about it in the coming weeks as we continue to dive in. But really optimistic about what those numbers look like and what we were able to do in the last year. And now that we've been able to confirm those numbers and really be able to shore that up, we are incredibly excited about what's to come. And we're using all of that to make sure that our efforts in the coming year are honed and we're able to spend our money and our time more efficiently. So really excited, and thanks to all the volunteers, all the staff who have been a part of sending all those texts and those emails and making those calls, and to the donors who helped make all those things happen. It's been incredibly important. So, which is all to say, every single thing you're doing, even if that person never responds to your texts or doesn't pick up your phone call, or you think that only a $5 donation can't really do anything, all of those things mattered. All of those things helped get past the finish line, help people get registered to vote. And Field Team 6 was a huge part of that. That 3 million number represents a huge percentage of the winning margins across all the battleground states. So that means we had a massive impact all across the country. So those are our numbers. Just want to say thank you to everyone, and you'll be hearing more from us soon.
So Janet, if you could just spotlight Jason real quick. Jason, if you can just give us a reaction that you gave when Corey first told you that number, because I feel like we need a little context for how we should feel about that number.
See, am I spotlight yet?
Yeah, you're on.
Are you? And then there are a bunch of words I can't repeat here.
And then there was some dancing. Yeah, there was a lot of this. It went on for a while. Yeah, so when you think about the election turned on 40,000 votes in swing states, the fact that not only did we register 6,000 people in Arizona, but we registered almost 3 million people across the 11 states that we were working in 2020 cycle. Kind of insane. It's like that. It's really hard to wrap your mind around just how big that number is. And to look through that data that Corey presented and to see like, oh no, there really is something that happens. Like that first touch, that's good. It does something. That second touch, it's a little better. That third touch, it matters. That fourth touch, it's great. The fifth touch, wow. I mean, it's really amazing when you look at, we anticipated that multiple touches were what was going to be effective. We did not know it was going to be this effective. Nobody, even Corey, who's a genius when it comes to numbers, didn't prepare us for this number to come in. So anyway, enough about that, but just wanted to contextualize how big that number is. Go ahead.
It's gigantic. It's what it's based on is very solid. These are numbers we got confirmed through the updated voter rolls of these 3 swing states, right? Arizona, North Carolina, Florida, that we worked in. And so we saw that these people who we contacted between 1 and 6+ times wound up getting registered. They may not have used Votarizer. They may not have registered at that moment, but they did get registered. So, we don't take full credit. We're of course part of the whole resistance. Thank God there were other organizations contacting these people, but we absolutely were part of some of the touches that
made it happen.
3 million people. Yeah.
Made it happen.
That means all of you were too. Yeah, it all matters. Amazing. Mwah.
All right. So Jason mentioned that we had a very successful operation in registering people in person before COVID. We pivoted to digital. Obviously, we're going to be doing both going forward once we can safely. I want to introduce Valerie, who's one of our super volunteers. She runs our info team. So if anybody out there has ever had a question and sent a question to info@fieldteam6.org, she runs a whole team of people who respond to those emails. But she also came up with a super great idea for how we can register people in person once it's safe to do so. And she's going to tell you about that now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to have Janet share some slides out. And as you probably know, the census results just came out. So if you can go back like 2 or 3 slides, Janet, for me. There we go. So the official number of the United States population is 331,449,281 people. So what does this mean for us? So that means a lot of states are gaining and some are losing seats. And so out of that, so that's going to be interesting on how that plays out for voter registration. And we'll be looking into that a little later. But so no plans around that yet. But out of these 331 million people, we have the next slide, please. 843,593 people were naturalized citizens in 2019. So that's the big number. That's the latest number that we have. And so this is a small portion of our population, but it also, because you know how the electoral map plays out, it has like really big ramifications depending on where these new citizens are coming in. So if you can go to the next slide. You can see that I've highlighted here our target states in these little red colored circles. And you'll see in Texas and Florida, that's over 60,000 new naturalized citizens, which means they are eligible to vote. And so we need to make sure that we leave no eligible Democrat behind. So we want to make sure that we capture all of these people at the naturalization ceremony and make sure that they understand why it's important to register as a Democrat. So if you can take me to the next screen. And so we're going to be registering folks at these naturalization ceremonies. And so all you'll have to do is enter your information where you're situated, and then we will make sure that you have COVID-safe protocols to go out to these naturalization ceremonies and register all the Democrats that you can while you're there. And, you know, it's also a great time to have conversations with these new citizens, because they might not be aware of all of the weird little nooks and crannies in our voting laws. So you can walk them through that. You can help dispel some myths that they might have about the Republican and Democratic parties. It's just a great opportunity to talk to folks. So of course, we're going to do this safely. And so this isn't up and running yet, and we're just laying down the infrastructure. But stay tuned to our newsletter. We will be rolling this out fairly soon. But looking at the ceremonies that have been posted so far at the US courts, seems like Georgia's up and running, and they expect to be having ceremonies in May. Which, looking at their COVID numbers, I'm not sure if that's the greatest idea, but, you know, we're going to roll with it. We'll see how we end up on that, you know, if we feel safe enough to be out there. But that's definitely in the works, and that's something that we need tons of volunteers for. So please, please, please join us in this effort. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and thank you for your time. Thank you for being here tonight.
I know we're going to get to a question and answer at the end, but I just saw Joanne ask a question in the chat about this, Valerie, and she said, how many naturalized in California? I don't know the total, you might, but I did look to see how many are at a single event in Los Angeles, and there are 5,000 that they put through in a single event in Los Angeles. So I'll let you answer the total number when we get to the question and answer later. Jeff, I do believe that you have a video to play at this point.
Ahoy, matey. Ye want to become a pirate of progressive activism without ending up in Davy Jones' locker? Avast, ye should join Field Team 6 Social Storming. Our fearless crew posts and reposts eye-catching graphics and videos on social media to build awareness of Field Team 6 efforts. And now, to tell us more, our czar of social media and all-around great person, Deb Verla.
That's my czar pronoun, because I am czar.
You probably recognized a few of us in that video because we were all in there, but you had to look really hard to find any of us. Anyway, I don't have much time, so just to let everybody know, I had never used Twitter before our first media storms last fall. I had an account, but really, I didn't even remember how to log in. So my good friend Patty Crane suggested that I follow her, and I did, and I followed some of the same people that she followed. And all of a sudden, I was realizing why people even use Twitter, because I really didn't know. And it does have value as a news source and an influencer. So then I jumped into it. I started participating in a bunch of the media storms. I got addicted to them, and it was really fun. So when Wayne asked if I would take them over, of course I said yes. And now we're doing a training every week so that we can show the stormers what the value of these storms are, what we're doing, and a whole lot of tips and tricks to make it even more useful. For example, when we started about a month ago, I had maybe 30 followers. So we weren't really sure what would happen if we got more followers, but a few of us have gone on this quest to get more followers. I've got about 3,500 now through some experimenting. It's a slow process.
Slow? How dare you? How dare you? There are people who don't have 3,500 followers who have been on Twitter since 2012.
That's true. But you know, when you do it too fast, you end up in Twitter jail. And how do I know that?
Because you've been in Twitter jail.
I have been in Twitter jail more times than I can admit over the past few months. But now I know what to do along with what not to do. And that's what we talk about in our trainings. So do I really think that somebody's going to go out and register to vote because they see one of my tweets? You know, they probably aren't. But if I post and you post and we all post about Votarizer, it helps to get that Votarizer hashtag trending out there. And if we're posting really well-designed tweets, which we are, if you haven't seen these, they're gorgeous tweets. They have wonderful art in them, really important messages. Anyway, if I tweet a bunch of those and somebody sees that, and then they see someone else that they follow tweeting the same tweets, and they see those for week after week after week, maybe, just maybe, that person will finally click on one of them, and they'll be taken to our postcard page or the Field Team 6 website or whatever we're promoting that week. And maybe, just maybe, they'll say, you know, I really should register to vote. Or maybe they'll say, it looks like these folks are doing some really good work. I wonder if I could get involved. And that, my friends, is what we're trying to accomplish with our media storms. So if you'd like to join our rollicking fun media storms, we do these trainings every Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock Pacific time, whatever that calculates to for your time. We post it in the Slack channel, the Slack Media Storm Force channel. So come and join us every Wednesday morning, and we'll teach you how to do it. So
and it really works. Nick can tell you. He's in the chat. Nick will tell you he came to one of these trainings. What was it, Nick? 3 weeks ago, came to a training. Did not have a Twitter account. Now he's over 700 some followers, and he's like a pro. He's an old pro. And it's all because of Deb. So pretty exciting.
And he has turned into a maniac, but you know, that's okay.
That's right. That's right. All right. I would now like to introduce you to the person who runs our growing list of phone banks, Ashley Craig.
Hi, everybody.
And you can
Hi,
tell
everyone.
Ashley is a
And
czar
I
too.
also, so this is a crown, in case you weren't sure what this is. See, but I'm also, when I'm not avidly running phone banks or to register voters or working my full-time job, an avid environmentalist. So when Deb said we should all get crowns, I was like, wait, we should make crowns, but you have to understand, I don't know how to make anything. So that's why my crown looks like this, and it's made from a cookie box. And I'm in New Orleans, so these are Mardi Gras beads. But in any case, I wanted to talk to you about phone banks, which are so exciting. Maybe they're not that exciting, but we try to make them exciting. We try to make them fun. So please join us for some phone banks. We have phone banks right now. I run one to North Carolina, where I was super excited to tell everybody that we made 30,000 calls. And then thanks, Corey, he comes out with this 3 million number. So now 30,000 doesn't sound so big. So maybe we've made 30 million calls. Okay, we haven't. It's only 30,000, but still, I was like super excited about that number, and now not so much anymore, but still pretty good. And we also have phone banks to Texas. We have several to California. We have one to Pennsylvania. We're going to start one up to Georgia. And we really need people with Spanish speaking skills who can help us with a number of different phone banks, including in Florida. So join a phone bank, email me, get in touch with me. I will help you set a phone bank up. For those of you who have recently gone through the process and felt like it was a little like it took a while back and forth, I'm coming up with a process to make that easier. We're also trying to be creative and think of different ways that we can reach other groups of folks. I'm thinking about doing some partnerships with some organizations. I've done a lot already in North Carolina, so it's fun, it's exciting, it really is. So join us for a phone bank or volunteer to run one.
Thank you, Ashley. 30,000 is an amazing number of phone calls. Just try to make 30,000 tomorrow and see how far you get. You're not going to get very far. That's a lot of calls. That is a lot of calls. And by the way, when we say that we text millions of people, those are so fast. You can text somebody and you can probably, well, Jason gets addicted and he texts like multiple people in a second, but taking a phone call, that's actually takes some real skill and takes some time, because you have to engage somebody in a conversation. That's much, much more time consuming. So 30,000, amazing. All right. Speaking of amazing, if you've ever come to one of these events and you've seen videos that have been put together by Field Team 6, or you've seen a video play that has been put together by somebody at Field Team 6, it's probably Jeff who's cueing that video. And in some cases, it's Jeff who's made that video. Jeff Seeloff, ladies and gentlemen. He's also muted.
Unmute myself. Hello, and I'm not alone in making the videos. There's also David Zorn, Lauren Kruger, Gab Terabulsi, and with oftentimes assistance from our great, super talented graphic artist, Kat Landry. Does a wonderful job. And also with wonderful notes from none other than Dale Roy Robinson, who is very humble. He doesn't mention that he's an ex-television executive, gives incredible notes. So that's about all I got to say. You can check out more of our Field Team 6 videos on the YouTube channel. And up next is a video that we recently finished about our plans in 2021. And
hey, Jeff, before you roll that, I just want to say that we do have a YouTube channel, and it would be great if everybody went to that YouTube channel. And were you going to say this later? Am I stealing your thunder?
You're not, and you're
okay.
not. I always forget this.
So go to YouTube, search for Field Team 6. You can find the channel. It has our logo on it. Click on the videos and then watch those videos. But it would be great if you could like them and subscribe.
And subscribe. That's what they always say on YouTube videos.
Yes, if you ever have any kids that or grandkids who are like YouTube fanatics, because that's all they watch, all of those videos that they watch will say like and subscribe. And there's a reason for that, is that if you like and subscribe, that means that more people will find them in the algorithm. That means more people will see our videos. More people will get drawn into the content that we're presenting, which means that more volunteers will come to Field Team 6, meaning more Democrats get registered. Seems obvious. Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
You are connecting all the dots there, Dale.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So here's our next video.
Do you remember how the last 4 years felt? Well, guess what? It could happen again. This week, conservative billionaires converge on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort to plan how they will inject hundreds of millions into boosting candidates and causes aligned with the former president. The summit is being sponsored by the Conservative Partnership Institute, an organization led by Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and former Senator Jim DeMint. Their goal? Build a Republican dark money machine that will take back Congress from the Democrats in the 2022 midterm elections. Their chances are good, even if President Joe Biden's approval ratings remain high.
Republicans only need a net gain of 5 seats right now to flip the House.
It's a pretty strong historical trend that the president's party loses seats in a midterm election.
In fact, since the Civil War, 93% of the time the party in the White House lost House seats in the midterms, so history is not on our side. Fortunately, at Field Team 6, we have a plan to turn history on its head and help make the promise of democracy real for all of us. The plan? Grow our Democratic majorities in the Senate and House by conducting proudly partisan voter drives digitally and in person in the 8 most flippable battleground states, where every Democrat we register can help us win Senate, House, and down-ballot races. But to win, we need to get way out ahead of our competition. That means starting now, not next year. And that means we need you, every single one of you, to do whatever you can as soon as you can. Please don't wait. Donate a few dollars today, and you'll help pay the hard costs for our text and phone banks, our growing database, and our digital organizing tools like Votarizer. Plus, you'll have our undying thanks. If you can't donate, volunteer, write postcards, send texts, make phone calls, or help out behind the scenes. You'll soon discover you've joined a team of superheroes that's about to do the impossible, turn history on its head. Volunteer and donate at fieldteam6.org today.
Jeff, did you have any final words?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay. He's letting the video speak for himself. Okay. He put that together. Fantastic. We ended up sending that out as a blast in one of Corey's emails, and it helped raise some money that we needed to pay for some very important things this month. And it's also on, and that video can play on the Act Blue page so people can watch it. Fantastic. So thank you, Jeff, for putting all of those, all of the work into the videos that you do and for queuing the videos at all of the events and so on. So one of the things that Jeff mentioned at the end there was all the volunteer opportunities. And one of the things that he mentioned in those volunteer opportunities is postcards. Well, in 2020, we did not have postcards, but in 2021, Jason and I were yammering about what can we do with the big pile of data that we have. And phone banks were obviously what we needed to do. And Ashley took care of that and started building that whole program. But we needed to put together a postcarding team as well, because there were lots of volunteers who had no interest in getting on a phone, but would be quite happy to write a postcard. Janet and Sharon were the two people who were already super volunteers, already had czars in their names, and they took over this program. Hey guys, nice crowns. You're both muted.
Didn't I say I was the Zoom czar too? And I don't even know how to use Zoom, so that's awesome. You get what you pay for, Field Team 6. And this crown, I'm so embarrassed compared to the other czars. Okay, anyway, as you heard Dale just mention, we recently added postcarding to Field Team 6's amazing repertoire of different ways to register voters and to reach out to them. It's something that they've realized over the years that a lot of volunteers really love to do. People who don't want to maybe directly engage with voters, but really want to be involved, and maybe they're crafty, unlike myself. And as Jason has mentioned, it is a gateway drug of activism. Like maybe you start with postcards and you come to postcarding parties and you meet people, other people who are doing it. And maybe they tell you, hey, have you tried texting? And then, you know, so it kind of can lead to getting involved in other ways. So, and we started our program. We did kind of a soft launch back in late February, and our volunteers have already sent more than 55,000 postcards.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm very impressed with all of our folks out there who are doing this. One of the things that makes our postcards unique is that they have a QR code on them. So it's not just a persuasive message, but it's an actionable item that it doesn't just urge you to register. It actually provides everything you need to register, because you point your phone's camera at the code, and it takes the recipient directly to Votarizer, which is our wonderful, amazing voter registration portal. And you can register to vote there from any state. And then for folks who also have trouble with QR codes, because I think a lot of people are still getting used to those, our messages always include the website votarizer.org. So another thing that makes our postcards really unique is that they feature art from Shepard Fairey, who's best known for his Obama Hope poster. I don't give a shot of those, Janet. So if you go to fieldteam6.org and then you go to the drop-down menu actions and then postcarding, you can get started, and you can buy the Shepard Fairey cards, and you're also welcome to use your own cards. And if you do that, you can simply print the QR code onto a label and stick it onto your cards. If you're curious how these cards are laid out, Janet can show you a slide. Basically, we have the code in the top left corner, and then we have space for the message underneath the code, and then the address on the right, so that the whole other side contains the beautiful Shepard Fairey artwork. And yeah, and if you kind of don't write small or whatever, you can always use your own postcards and just get the QR code. So I'm going to switch over to Janet now, who's going to finish our presentation.
All right. So because our messages, we try to keep our messages short and sweet, and they're aimed at registering Democrats in flippable districts. So these are some samples that just got, that some of our wonderful volunteers completed and posted on Twitter. And
she's here.
So
she's here tonight.
Oh, well,
Lee is here.
Oh, thank you so much.
These are Lee Lindenlaub.
Yes.
If I didn't slaughter the pronunciation on that, but she posted these on Twitter, and then Deb Verla and her team of social stormers always like and retweet them when she posts them. So that's super fun to get these images out to even more people. Thank you, Lee.
Well, thank you. And if you are on social media, please post your postcards. Obviously, cover the addresses. So we target specific elections like Texas mayoral elections and the upcoming primary in Pennsylvania, as well as generally registering as many Democrats as we can in flippable districts in time for 2021 and 2022 midterm elections. We currently have campaigns running in the following states. We got Putnam County, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, Colorado, California 25, California 8, and many more to come. All right, and so you can get started postcarding with us. Just go to fieldteam6.org under actions, under postcarding, and we'll take you to our platform. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at postcards@fieldteam6.org. We also have weekly postcarding parties on Saturdays hosted by Lori. So please go to our Mobilize page and sign up for that to get the Zoom link. And that's it.
Nicely done. Nicely done. 55,000. Wow. That is a lot of postcards in a very, very short amount of time. Thank you for everybody who's doing that. Okay. Next, I want to introduce you to Dr. Wayne Liebman. He is singly responsible for all of us being here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Dale. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, wait, I could have made a more seamless introduction. Wayne is responsible for getting us Shepard Fairey postcards. He actually had the connection that got us Shepard Fairey. Wayne, take it away.
Okay. That was so much fun doing that, Dale, because Dale was just musing. We were thinking about the program and he said, if we could just get, I don't know, something like Shepard Fairey, and a little light went off in my brain. And as I always tell Dale, it's my fourth favorite thing I've ever done for Field Team 6. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. You should be looking, it should say volunteer teams, I hope. So I'm going to tell you about our volunteer teams at Field Team 6. Once upon a time, Field Team 6 was just one guy. He was a little off center, but he was really smart. He had a great idea. He was going to save the world. By registering voters with volunteers from all over Southern California. And this was so successful in 2018 when we took back the House. Why not do it in the 2020 battleground states and win back the White House and the Senate? So we hired 2 volunteers at the super low Field Team 6 discount volunteer pay rate, and we began to build an organization of volunteers that could scale. We started out with 1 team of volunteers, our data team, to keep track of the thousands of people we were registering. But then we realized we needed an event team to raise money. And of course, we needed an outreach team to build alliances in other states. And then our email got out of hand, so we built an email team to handle it. And then we needed a hotspot team to tell us where to hold our voter drives. And it got so crazy, we needed a volunteer team just to keep track of our volunteers and to onboard new people. At this point, we were getting pretty sophisticated, and we needed a tech team and a field guide team to sort out all the registration rules in our battleground states, and a social media team to get the word out, and a calendar team to sort out all our events. So everything was going great. And then, as you know, a bad thing happened. We couldn't go out and register live. We took a deep breath. We pivoted to online registration. We built Voterizer with a team of 1 super volunteer on the team, Adam Lesh. And then we built more teams. We needed a newsletter team, so we added that, and then a video team, and then a phone bank support team, and then a text bank support team, and then our postcarding support team, and then our online training team, our script team, our Slack team, our Voterizer data team, our Spanish language team, our Zoom Force team, our Media Force team, our graphic design team, a donor communications team, and a utility team. And the utility team was just so that we could pitch hit wherever we needed to. We now have new opportunities all the time, and you can find them at the bottom of every newsletter. This is this week's. We need a search engine superstar and more Spanish speakers. We need people to call people, and we need a social media hero. And then we need just about anything else that you can imagine. Now, it looks like we're brimming with volunteers, but volunteers are also in the doldrums. We need you, we need you, we need you. And so go to the newsletter, or you can also go to the website and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage and click where it says Join Field Team 6. This will take you to our Volunteer Behind the Scenes to Save the World questionnaire. Just fill it out. We'll be in touch. Field Team 6 runs on volunteer energy. We built this incredible grassroots infrastructure. We can't let it melt away and have to recreate it every election. That's how we got into trouble in the first place. We've learned that democracy needs tending. We have to work for it, fight for it, day and night for it. That's what Ben Franklin meant. Thanks very much for listening.
Wow, that was packed with pectin. There was lots in there. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay.
I turned my video off. Sorry. So that amazing. That's kind of crazy, because there are teams that Wayne has set up and are operational that I don't even know about, and I'm the chief operating officer. So that just tells you how critical Wayne is to this. All right, so Jason, we're running over. So we're gonna tell the folks, the good folks, about our COVID safe in-person voter registration plans in about 2 minutes. Ready?
Ready.
Go.
Are we alternating sentences?
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, we are
going to be getting out into our battleground states in person when it is safe.
Yes, and then we're going to be updating Voterizer for use in the field to make it easier than ever to do these in-person voter drives.
No,
So
I think you should just go for it. Just go.
We're going to be recommending people are fully vaxxed and masked up, and we're very proud of how we'll be able to do this in a very responsible, safe way. You know, when we shut down in March of 2020, it was a crazy and necessary decision. Our goal, as passionate as we are about voter registration, top goal is to keep every single volunteer healthy and safe. And we did that. We did not, thank God, lose a single volunteer over COVID, and we're not going to now. But as it does get safer, we can't wait to get back out there in a safe way and register the daylights out of Democrats and swing states. So we have guidance on our website right now for that under the, oh, there it is. There it is under the main menu, I think under actions, and it details exactly what you need to do and when we're going to consider it safe. We've, pinned this to a New York Times tracker that's hooked up to the U.S. Health Bureau, Census and Health Bureau, I think. And it's updated every single day. And you can see when risk gets low enough that it is safe to go out. And it's in most parts of the US, that's not quite yet, but we're hoping a month or two, and hoping that we'll be able to get out on college campuses, crucially in every single swing state, definitely by back to school. Yeah, so we can do a rush week for democracy, register, thousands or, tens of thousands across the country.
Very good. And of course, Valerie's plan to register at naturalization ceremonies will also follow these protocols. So we will not be sending anybody to those unless it falls within the safety guidelines as well. All right, so we have lots of questions that have been asked, and we're going to get to 5 of them. If we don't get to your question, I'm sorry, we're just running a little long. We had a lot to pack in tonight, but everybody needs to go and eat some dinner if you're on the West Coast, and if you need to go to bed if you're on the East Coast. So here's 5 questions in no particular order. And then if you don't get your question answered, just email info@fieldteam6.org. And now you know that it will be Valerie or one of her team members who will be able to get you back an answer in a prompt manner. Okay, so here we go. Is it possible, I think you answered this in the chat already, Jason, but is it possible to get a recap of this so we can report some of this info to our networks and chapters? And the answer is yes. We will absolutely put together a recap of tonight. And I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. And the important thing to remember is 2.94, almost 3 million voters we helped register across our 11 swing states for 2020.
Very good. Lee Lindenlaub also asked if it was possible to post the video, the impact video, and the answer is yes. You need to email one of us, probably info@ is fine, and we'll get you a downloadable link. It's not downloadable from YouTube, but we'll get you a downloadable link so that you can upload it to social media and you can share it.
Also, you can post the YouTube link wherever you like.
That's true. Absolutely.
Which I put in the chat.
Absolutely. Here's a question from Jamie. Because of all the voter suppression laws efforts happening, have we considered voter education, either at phase when we approach to register, additional links, for example, in text and postcards, or follow up with those registered to ensure that they're clear regarding voter ID voting plans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely a part of what we do. We, use state-specific trainings for every state. We have always and plan on continuing to stay on top of changing voter registration laws. Patty's comment was right on point. That's why it's crucially important to pass the For the People Act that gives us a set of federal guidelines protecting and expanding our freedom to vote. And yes, but we train all our volunteers in the field and our voter drive leaders, and on Voterizer itself. One of the things we're most proud of with Voterizer is that it's not cookie cutter. It's very state specific. So whatever state you're in, it will give you guidance as to what the watch outs are, if there are specific voter suppression techniques in use, how to get around them, what to, how to send in your ballot early, or whatever the thing is that you have to do. So yes, we're absolutely trying to educate every single person we register, as well as our volunteers.
Phil asks, are Wednesday AMs for only Wednesday AMs for Twitter storming? Phil, the quick answer is that that's when we have our Zoom parties where you can come and get tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. And it is the storm part of it where everybody is retweeting and liking each other's posts. But you can do that anytime. And because of how we do this, we search for the hashtags that are used in those storms. Even in the days following, you can go to our assets pages and you can push those out anytime, and then we'll retweet them when we get to the storm. So you can send them out Tuesday. You just won't have anybody retweeting or liking your posts immediately. It will happen at 11 a.m. Pacific the next day, for example. Okay, here's a question from Allison. Are any of the voter suppression laws passed and or proposed going to affect Field Team 6 directly? Will we still be able to register people using the methods we have been using, or will we need new strategies?
Yes. They will absolutely affect us. Again, this is why we need the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, because, you know, they're doing outrageous things. Those 360 plus voter suppression bills going through the 47 states legislatures right now. Georgia passed a bill into law saying that they can overturn the results of a county election board, basically just derailing democracy. Texas is following suit. It's a legislative continuation of the physical attack on the Capitol of January 6th. And that's why the stakes have never been higher than right now. And it's never been more important to keep registering Democrats so we can buck this tide, you know, on the election.
And one of the exciting things that we have on our volunteer ops page is specific phone banks into people who live in Arizona and West Virginia to urge their representatives to accept, not even like, they don't have to like it, they just have to accept filibuster reform. And once that happens, then we can get these voter suppression laws overturned by the passage of these two critical laws, S1 and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. Thank God for Mark Elias and Democracy Docket, Joanne Boland. He has, the Brennan Center for Justice Gold Standard. They have said that of these 360 bills, if the For the People Act were to pass into law, it would quash all of them.
Oh, and look at that, real time from Patty. This is exactly how this works, people, is Patty is shoveling messaging to us in real time. She says the advice is to call them anti-voter laws. Fantastic. And probably the reason for that is because people don't understand what voter suppression means. They don't have a picture of what that means. But anti-voter, that doesn't sound good. Nobody likes an anti-anything. So that's probably why that works. And Patty's giving me the thumbs up. I actually pulled that one off. Okay. All right. So our last question, and then we're done for the night. And I believe it was Anna who asked it. It is Anna who asked it. What about Ohio?
Yeah. Ohio has been trending red, you know. You always have to make difficult decisions because, you know, with limited resources, and we're choosing not to focus on Ohio as one of our 8 triple word score states because we want to go deeper in the states where we really can make a difference and do everything.
But the yes and part of that is we started specifically with 8 states, knowing that if we bring in enough money in the next few months, that we may expand into other states. So don't count Ohio out yet, especially if you have a rich uncle.
Also, of course, Voterizer works there. You know, we want to register Democrats in every state. And there are swing House districts in 39 states. You know, we can't focus on those 39 yet, you know, but yeah, there are swing districts all over for the House. We got to hold on to the House.
And there are ways that we are working with organizations that are not in our 8 swings districts. And if you want to know about that, just chat with Nick in the chat. He's here tonight. We're working with Nick in Putnam County, New York. New York is not one of our 8 states yet. Nick is doing phone and phone banks and postcarding right now into a very, very critical district. So thank you, Nick. He's paving the way.
Absolutely. So yes, there may be ways we can help. I want to say thank you so much to, I'm so proud to be a part of this. I'm so proud to be working with just every every super volunteer and staff member who presented tonight. Just an insanely overqualified group that is just, there's so much, not only incredible amounts of hard work and you know, and talent and years of skill from everyone's different careers that have combined to make this Wu-Tang super group here of activism. but so much soul, so much heart. You know, I would not want to be up against you guys. And same with everyone on this call, every single volunteer and organizer and donor. You really are heroes of rock and roll. And we've done amazing things. I knew we'd done amazing things before that data came in with the 3 million number, but oh my God, that is, it's kind of mind blowing. From a scrappy team of ragtag heroes to like the effective organization that you have all made us. So thank you all for that. And let's keep doing this. Let's keep going. Let's save the world again, because we need to. We're not sleeping, you know, our enemies aren't, and we aren't either. So let's keep going.
And for everyone who filled out Corey's survey saying, what kind of events would you like to see coming up? The answers were overwhelmingly, one of the top things that you asked for were strategy briefings. So here you go. We listened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We keep listening.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. And thanks to everybody from our team who put together their presentations tonight. That was a lot to pack in a very short amount of time. Thanks for everybody for showing up.
Oh, so good. So good. Thank you so much.